Hey, Christina, welcome to When Spirit Talks.
Hi, Steph. It's so great to be here with you. I've
I
been
know,
so
I've
excited.
been so excited about it too. I'm ready to dive in. We've been friends on Instagram for a while now,
A
and
long
I've
time.
always just been so drawn to you and your energy, and so I'm ready to dive into it.
Thank you so much. And you know, I am a huge fan of yours as well. And we've done such great work together. And I love your work and what you do
Aw,
so much.
thank you, thank you. Now I want to know all about you and
Okay.
how you started your journey and how you ended up becoming a certified nutrition health coach and hypnotherapist.
All right. Well, so my journey into wellness and mindset coaching, I feel like it began like so many other healing paths do, which is like from a deeply personal place of evolvement. And, I had a background in finance and more of the business field in schools and what I studied. And that took me up until like my mid 30s, but just never felt passionate or fulfilled in that area. And, for years, I was happy, definitely happy and fulfilled on the outside, and had so many things to be thankful for and grateful for, and just felt like I was holding things together and showing up for like everybody else. But inside, I was like running on empty, like just found myself in a place of kind of emotional burnout
Mm.
and imbalance, juggling motherhood, work, but work, not like passionate, purposeful work. And
Mhm.
family just felt like this never-ending pressure to be everything for everyone. And I'm sure that's a lot of people's stories as
Yeah.
well. And just for most of my life previously, like up to that point, I felt like I followed the path that was expected of me. Like I did what was considered right by society and family and conditionings, checking all the boxes, being responsible and showing up for everybody else, but never really stopping to pause and ask like myself, what do I actually want, and
Mhm.
what is my purpose? Like what is my purpose work? What am I here for? And so that was like a period of pause and introspection, I would say. A lot of questioning and deep inner search work started around that time. And yeah, just things began to really shift internally for myself, first and foremost. And transcendental meditation came across my way, and I got really interested in that and then dove deeply into TM, which was extremely impactful for me and still is. I still practice it every single day and I love it so much. But it helped me explore and begin to connect my thoughts, my body, my energy and spirit, like opening it all up into one, and realize that true wellness isn't just what we eat and, exercising and how we look physically. It's so much deeper than that. It's about how you speak to yourself and, how you honor your needs and how you reconnect to that kind of inner wisdom and, that inner voice that we all have. So doing that inner work in myself, kind of answering those questions for me, led me down what I call like my breadcrumb trail that began at that time, because
Mhm.
it was like little pieces of breadcrumbs that I had no idea where they were taking me, but I'm like, hopefully somewhere and hopefully all together at some point. And so I kind of just went with it and had a calling to become a nutrition and health coach with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition,
Mhm.
which was excellent. But as I started health coaching, I realized that there was something deeper and more powerful happening. Like people know what to do, but there was a reason why there wasn't any meaningful or lasting change happening, and started to see how and why that was the case, which was, our mindset and our beliefs, which tie into so many of our habits and um, just our limiting beliefs and just things that we aren't even really conscious of. So with that, I dove even deeper and became interested in NLP and became an NLP practitioner, and which led me down the road of hypnotherapy because they're tied into one another, and became certified as a hypnotherapist. And then, as you know, some before that, I practiced and certified in Reiki as well, energy work, and came across Chopra's total well-being coaching, and I'm a total well-being certified Chopra coach as well. So to me, it tied into the holistic aspect of coaching and of well-being, which is the mind and the body and soul aspect that we're all made up of. So for me, it was applying all of those practices inward and seeing how that helped me transform and reconnect, find my voice, and was very transformative and healing. And with that, I was able to apply it to my clients, to my practice, and just help people navigate themselves in these areas of life that we go through and come back to wholeness, and be able to help and heal, help people find it within themselves, really, because it's all within ourselves. We have it, and helping them rediscover that and, you know, come back to their wholeness and feel good in their life.
Yeah, you mentioned so many different little tools in
Yeah,
your toolbox that you have, which is amazing because I know you're all about like holistic healing and just whole health in general. And it's so important to not just focus on like one aspect. Like, I love how you said nutrition is important, but there's more to it. There's
yeah,
so much more. And I know you created the holistic living total well-being method. Can you
right.
tell us about that? Like, what is it and how does it help?
Yes, definitely. So again, it's like all of these different tools
Mhm.
and gathering these tools in our toolbox of life so that when we encounter our roadblocks and our setbacks, it's like, how can I check in and navigate this obstacle and this path in life? Because it's a constant evolution. And so the holistic living method ties in the mind, the body, and the soul, is which is our complete self, right? So if one aspect of our lives is out of balance and um, out of whack, it's going to affect all areas as well. And so tapping into the aspects of the mind and our mindset, our self-talk, our limiting beliefs, our practices that we do daily. The physical aspect, which is definitely nutrition and exercise, movement for the body, somatic movement as well. And then the soul, it's the energy work. It's diving deeper into that connection of source, and whether that's meditation or prayer or, you know, journaling and gratitude practices, and finding a method that works in each one of our lives, because everybody's lives are different. We're all busy in different ways and have different things going on, but we can make it happen and incorporate it into our lives in a in an easy and efficient way so that we can come back to that wholeness.
I love that. And you mentioned roadblocks. Do you find that there's like a main theme or a main roadblock in the people that you work with, or people in general, or women specifically? Like, what is the biggest roadblock you see that are preventing people from really accessing that like whole happiness?
I think it is, from what I've experienced a lot with
Hmm.
my clients, it's our self-talk, it's our
Hmm.
self-worth, I really find in a lot of women. It's our limiting beliefs around our wholeness in itself. And, you know, it can come from minor things in our past, to major experiences, but they all still affect us, and can affect us in many different ways. So it's, again, building that awareness first and foremost, and then finding out what, those sort of triggers are and reframing and working to shift those limiting beliefs into more empowering beliefs. And again, coming back to the holistic living method of coming back to your whole self, which if we feel good on the inside, then we're naturally going to hold ourselves higher up on the outside.
So let's say you're going throughout the day, because I know this has happened to so many of us. Like we're going throughout the day, we're having a great day, and then all of a sudden, like we hyper fixate on something either negative about ourselves or a negative situation that happened, and we can't stop thinking about it. What
Mhm.
is the best thing we can do in that moment when we're just like constantly going back to that and it's really impacting our mental well-being in that moment?
And that happens, I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
Almost daily at different points in
Yeah.
times and different stages and situations that are going on in our life. It can be even more extremes at that time. Um, Again, I always come back to awareness, and it's building that muscle of awareness. And all of these are practices, just like our beliefs and our mindset and thought practices didn't happen overnight. These are conditionings and programmings that have happened since we were babies and children up to, the age of, preteen and so forth, and then stay with us. So again, it's building that awareness so we can create new habits and shifts. So first and foremost, it's just becoming aware of when that's happening and checking in with yourself. And for me, it's always checking in first thing in the morning as well. Pausing, checking in, and seeing if that monkey mind is happening, if we're going down the rabbit hole of thoughts, and shifting it from the beginning of the day. Definitely shifting that mindset and starting your day as centered as possible, coming back to yourself. There's so much noise outside of us and in the world, our phones, our families. It's like get up and go, and that feels like that's what we should be doing. So be efficient and just pausing first and foremost. And whether you have a meditation practice or if it's a prayer or it's a short moment of breath work, it's taking that moment to recenter and then actively choosing your thoughts and your day, basically. We are the master of our own mind, and remembering that. So it's, what thoughts am I having? Are they negative? How can I reframe this in a positive way? And some people might say that's, false positivity, or, I'm lying to myself, but, neither are really true either, right? So if we can choose, why not choose a positive reframe that makes us feel better? And the more that we do that, the more kind of confirmation that we get throughout our day of more positive shifts and experiences in our life. So it's built upon that awareness and then finding things that make you feel good in the day, uplifting music, just smiling more
Hmm.
and speaking to people that make you feel good and limiting those that don't, reducing the amount of negativity in your environment. So obviously we want to be in tune with the news and what's happening, but again, pick your moods and times and the amount that you can actually take in at that moment or each day. So it sounds minor, but they add up and really make a big impact on our mindset.
It's great how you mentioned that because I know toxic positivity is a thing that we're hearing now. And I think
Mhm.
when I think about it, it reminds me of someone who is maybe shifting and reframing without feeling. So they're ignoring their feelings and switching it or reframing it. And they're
Mhm.
never letting themselves feel that negative emotion. I know what works for me is like in the moments where I'm having those like kind of like those whirlpool moments where you like are going back and forth and you feel like you're going down and In those moments, I just tell myself, like, stop. I literally just tell myself to stop, like, stop thinking about this. And
Mhm.
then I do what you said. It's like you got to pause and become aware of like what you're feeling. So in that moment, just acknowledging what you're feeling. Like, I'm aware that I'm feeling frustrated, or I'm aware that I'm feeling really sad right now. And
Yeah.
then once you acknowledge that, and once you take that pause and become aware of those feelings, that's when the reframing will kick in and really help to shift. So I love how you brought that up. That was perfect.
Well, what you said is great tool for everyone to remember as well, which is stop, STOP, which I'm
Yeah.
sure you're aware of. So S is stop, pause. T, take a breath. So stop, take a breath, observe either your surroundings, your thoughts, and proceed. And again, with reframing or a new shift at that point. So yeah, that's a great point as well.
Well, thanks for sharing that. Now, I want to also talk about two things. I want to talk about the hypnotherapy piece that you do, and
Yes.
I want to also touch on that transcendental meditation you mentioned as well, because I don't even know too much about that myself.
Oh, okay. Well, so hypnotherapy
Mhm.
is, I love hypnotherapy. I love speaking about hypnotherapy because it's really such a powerful tool. It's a powerful tool that can really create real lasting change. And a lot of people think that hypnotherapy is about being put to sleep or losing control, but it's actually like the opposite. It's about waking up to your subconscious, your beliefs, and those kind of patterns that cycle, as you were saying, and thought patterns that are round and round in our mind. So it works by accessing the subconscious mind, that deep, quiet place beneath the surface where all of our habits and emotions, memories, conditionings, that's where they're all programmed in. And that's the part of the mind that really runs our show. So even without us consciously thinking about it, we're just going about our days, typically having the subconscious mind run the show, which is natural and normal. So, a great way to understand how hypnotherapy works is something that we call theory of the mind, which we explain before each session, so that our clients have a better understanding of really what that means. And I love to use the analogy of the iceberg, which
Mm.
it's well known as well. And the iceberg tip above the water is referred to as the conscious mind, what you can see outside of the water. And that's where your logic, your reasoning, decision making, short-term memory, that's where all of that resides in the more logical side of the conscious mind. And that's, the part of you that says, like, I want to do this. I want to stop procrastinating. I'm ready to lose weight. I deserve better. So it's very conscious about it, but it keeps repeating the same
Mm.
patterns over and over. And because that runs about like 5 to 10% of our mental activity. Then beneath the surface, so if the rest of the iceberg underneath the water would be the subconscious mind, and that is about 90 to 95% of our mental power. So super powerful and yeah, not often enough tapped into. And that's where all of our conditioned beliefs and automatic habits, emotional triggers, and all of our core memories live. So also referred to a lot as our computer hard drive, our real programming and our mind. And that's what runs our show. So even when we're not aware of it, that's what's running the show. So between those two now, there's something called the critical mind. And that's the part that is like the gatekeeper of information coming in. And that filters all the information, trying to protect us from anything unfamiliar because we love familiar, right? We like go
Hmm.
back to what's familiar.
Yeah.
Even if it's not positive or what we want, it's comfortable. So when you try to create change from that conscious level now, like it's it's definitely not as easy. It takes a lot longer. There's a lot of resistance. And it could be frustrating, and we never truly understand why. Why is this not happening fast enough? And I have so many clients like, I don't know what to do, and I just can't seem to do it. And that's where the power of the hypnotherapy comes in and helps bypass that critical mind that filters the information in by quieting it in hypnosis. So getting into a nice trance state, quieting that conscious and critical mind so that you can speak directly to the subconscious mind. And that's where real change starts to happen. And you're a lot more open at that point to the suggestions that you choose within the session as to what you want moving forward, and for it to be received within the subconscious mind for more lasting change. And what's great is it's not something that you have to force. It's not a ton of work. It does sometimes take a few sessions and follow through, of course, but it's definitely a powerful and interesting practice.
Wow, I was just going to say, right before you actually answered it, I was going to say, could it be possible that someone might have some walls up when they tried the first time and so they can't access that inner knowledge, but with time they can actually get through?
Yeah, I mean, for one, it's definitely important for people to be open,
Hmm.
um, because as much as we wish we can wave a magic wand and create the change, they it's not something that's being done to them, it's being done for them. So they still need to do the work. We still need to put in the changes and the habits in between the sessions and moving forward. So it's not like a one and done and everything is shifted. It's working together through the coaching and through the steps and actions, but the mind is receiving it easier and not as much resistance through the process of
That's
change.
amazing. That's
Mhm.
amazing. That sounds really, really helpful. I had a client who was going through her own hypnotherapy training, and I remember she was like, "Steph, I need to practice on someone. Can you
Yeah,
can you sit there
great.
and
You're
do
like,
it?"
yeah,
And I was like, "Sure." And it was so interesting because I had never had a session done before. And, I'm in the spiritual space, so it was easy for me to like open up.
yeah,
But it was so interesting to see how like you would help people along the journey. So they're not just like I wasn't just stuck there alone in my thoughts all by myself. Like I remember she was like guiding me and helping me through. So it was very much a supportive space. And I feel like there was a lot of information that came up that I would have had no idea. So I'm sure it's
yeah.
like a beautiful thing.
Definitely. It really is. It is. And um, it's a great experience because people have a whole, maybe a misconception of what it really is. Maybe
Hmm.
stage hypnosis and TV have shown it otherwise, but you're completely aware, as you know exactly what's happening. You are choosing the suggestions and you're allowing yourself to just tap into that deeper part of us that's there to tap into. We just never been taught about it.
Hmm.
All of these tools, it's like, why weren't they taught in school? Why weren't they taught when we were kids? And, have that toolbox equipped.
Yeah, I feel like it should be taught,
Yes.
especially in those like early years when kids are just starting school, like even just kindergarten. I remember being in kindergarten, we had to have nap time. Like we literally had nap time, which they don't do anymore. Now it's like preschoolers, some of them have nap time, but yeah, I think a lot of times we really need to teach our children and we need to teach ourselves because we were not taught these things directly when we were younger.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it helps us heal so much when we really start tuning into ourselves and like all of those aspects.
Hmm. Definitely. And even simple teachings would be amazing, like reframing and that we
Hmm.
are in control of our thoughts. And I know that up to a certain age, that's a little difficult,
Hmm.
just the way that, the developmental process of the mind. But, eventually for for it to be explained, how
Mhm.
we are in control of our thoughts and we can shift our reality by our thoughts. It starts with a thought, then creates an emotion with a physiological response, therefore then an action. It's like, oh wow, that makes sense, Like,
Mhm.
I can control my reality to an extent. It's empowering.
It really is. And I do want to know more about that meditation that you talked about. So what
Yeah.
is that?
So transcendental meditation is I mean, it's been around for a very long time as well. I mean, just as all meditation, just another uh I guess form of mantra meditation.
Hmm.
And you have to actually go to someone to be taught
Okay.
TM. I mean, you don't have to, but they suggest that you do.
Hmm.
They give you your own mantra and you go through like a ritual process, and it's practiced and taught over a period of, so I guess some places it's like 3 to 4 days.
Hmm.
Um, which really just helps you get to that transcendental state a lot quicker. Because I know a lot of people say they can't meditate and their mind wanders so much, which I mean, we all do definitely. And through transcendental meditation, um, you're given your own special mantra and based on your birth date and time and so forth. And it's more of a sound than a
Hmm.
word. So there's no, I'm sure there may be a meaning to it, but typically not, so that you're not fixated on what the meaning of the word. You're just repeating as any other mantras as well work. So it's similar to mantra meditation. It just assists you in getting into that deeper transcendental space and a lot quicker. And anybody can do it, which is, you know, the beauty in it. So when I did it, my dad actually went and did it at the same time, and so he practices, and then my husband did it, and one of my best friends, and so it's just, yeah, it's something that anyone can do.
That's really cool. I had never heard of it before. And what I actually, when you're speaking about it, what I love is that you have your own mantra. Like you have your own thing. I always love when you can isolate something that's just for you. And that's like, I can use this for myself.
Mhm.
No one else, can use it the way I do to help my body heal. So I think that's so cool.
It's a great practice. I love it. So in the morning, I get up and I sit and do my transcendental meditation. And it's suggested for 20 minutes, as most are, but if there's some days that you can fit in a 5 or 10, I just feel like any moments of
Mm.
silence and tapping into that inner center in the mornings is so beneficial.
Perfect. Now, before we get into the spirit segment, I have one more question because I'm
Okay.
so curious. What is the best way to shift our mindset in order to create a new reality, and how can we then sustain that?
Oh, wow. Okay. Hmm. So, shifting our mindset. I think we like tapped into that a little bit
Mhm.
earlier. Definitely awareness first and foremost. I would say really starting to check in with yourself. Um, just finding that inner quiet in the morning, definitely. And finding the practices that work for you.
Mhm.
So remembering again that we are the creator of our minds, and starting the day in that inner silence and just starting to question, what 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 do I want, and
Mhm.
what makes me feel good. It's those simple questions and shifts in our day and in our check-ins. Because again, our days are so busy, and before you know it, we're just moving along with life, not really partaking in it. So, um, starting with awareness and then reframing, being
Mhm.
able to interrupt our thought patterns um, and again, not in the false positivity or toxic positivity aspect, but um, just feeling it definitely and then choosing our way forward. So I mean, again, it's our mind is very programmable, and we're able to create that change. So it's just truly tapping into the power of the mind through these practices. Um, Journaling, I think, is a great tool, because when we're stuck in that loop, in that cycle of our mind where we're just thinking the same thoughts over and over again, there's no end. There's
Mhm.
no end to that. So when we journal, we can actually get everything out and create an end result as to what we want to achieve. So, and gratitude practice is highly impactful, more than people know. It's, scientifically shown how it can shift our mindset, because no matter what we're going through in our life, and there's different times when it's uh maybe more difficulties and more obstacles, but if we really look and find a few things to be grateful for and write them down and actually list them and put more focus onto that, we will start to see more of the good in our days. It's that confirmation bias where the more that what we focus on grows. And so gratitude practice is extremely impactful for shifting our mindset and finding more positivity in our life and being able to see the good in our lessons, and see the light in each day by shifting that to gratitude. So I
I like
actually,
how, yeah, keep
no,
going.
sorry, I actually created a 90-day gratitude journal because I love the practice. It's been so impactful for me, and I use it on my clients, and with them and within the coaching and their practices as well. So it's a beautiful and truly transformative practice with consistency. Again,
Mhm.
it's like building a muscle. So with consistency, it creates really great positive shifts.
The journaling piece that you mentioned, where you're talking about gratitude and combining it with the journaling, I think that's a fantastic idea because I feel like a lot of times we go through in our head, like, I'm grateful for our house, I'm grateful for our car, I'm grateful
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah,
But then if you actually write it, like you take time just to write it down and get it out of your body and onto the paper, it's like you're physically seeing everything that you're grateful for on the paper, which it's like now you, instead of it just being in your head, you're seeing it exist like in the 3D as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's that ideomotor response of physically writing. I know
Hmm.
nowadays everything is digital, which is still
Hmm.
good too, but actually writing by hand creates a straight connection to the mind. So having an even deeper connection and shift by physically writing and journaling.
I love the physical writing. Like I am not one to do the phone. Like I need to write it out. So I totally get it.
I
I still
do.
have like a planner, like one of those old school calendars in my bag that I like cross off and write everything in every day because I just love the process of like physically writing things down, like writing it out.
Definitely, definitely. And
Yeah.
it helps make things stick as well. I feel like helps with memorization and just, overall remembering everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I know you probably already mentioned it, but for the spirit segment, what is one thing you always include in your daily routine that helps you stay grounded and balanced that might help other people do the same too?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I would have to come back to stillness and gratitude.
Mhm.
Um, I think if to simplify it and not even getting overcomplicated into saying you must meditate or you must, sit for this amount of time, is when you wake up before you pick up your phone and
Hmm.
or you jump out of bed to attend to the world or your family is um, pause. Just pause. And if that means you have to set your alarm for 5 minutes earlier to sit in bed and place one hand on your heart and maybe the other on your belly and take 5 breaths and quietly say your silent prayers or gratitude for 2 minutes. It's just that conscious recentering, um, which is extremely simple. Yes, if you're able to get up and sit first thing in the morning and meditate for 10, 15, 20 minutes, amazing, obviously extremely beneficial, but it doesn't have to be, it's just that moment of not picking up our phones right away and having that become the first information that we are putting into our minds and our bodies and our energy. And then including that gratitude practice in the morning.
Mm.
Even if it's thank you for waking up,
Yeah.
thank you for this new day, which, is profound in itself. But starting the day in that heartfelt space, just elevate your energy, setting the day with intention and positivity simply by that simple pause and connecting back to gratitude.
Perfect. I love that. Perfect. And do you have a favorite story regarding your connection to spirit?
Yes.
What is it?
I know. Well, I'm like, which one? So, for me, I feel like I connect through spirit through my, well, where it resounds mostly to me is like my inner knowing, I guess,
Hmm.
just that, just an inner knowing, not so much visual or auditory. So it's just this deep inner knowing. And so a few years back, I was to travel with my husband and a whole group of people to go to a half marathon or something in the States, and packed up, ready to go, waiting to get picked up. And we were leaving the kids. They were a little younger at that time, not too young, but a little younger, with some other family that was here. And but majority of us were not going to be here, and so packed up, waiting to leave the house to travel out of the country. And something, a rush came over me that said, you cannot go. You cannot go. Tickets are booked, bag is packed. Like, how can I not go? What is my reasoning? This is absurd. But it was such a profound knowing that came over me that when my husband walked in and said, it's time to go, I said, I can't go. And of course, he was confused and I was honestly confused as well,
Hmm.
but I just knew that, for some reason this wasn't a good idea for me to leave. And the next day, my son was sleeping at his friend's house as he was supposed to and still wanted to, and woke up in the middle of the night and his appendix had ruptured.
Wow.
And we wouldn't have been in the country if that was the case. And so I had to take him to the hospital in the middle of the night. And that was a whole process in itself. My husband didn't get back for another day later. So for me, connecting to spirit is listening to that inner voice and trusting it, and allowing that muscle to grow with just trusting it each and every time.
That mother's intuition.
Yeah, strong.
It's like, do not leave. He needs you. He's gonna need you.
Was strong. It was definitely a strong inner voice that was screaming. That,
Amazing. What is one final piece of advice you have for listeners trying to improve their spiritual well-being?
um, I think, again, listening to that inner
Mm,
voice and becoming quiet to hear it, because you're not going to be able to hear it unless you quiet down and find moments of stillness in your day. So I think it would be finding the moments of stillness within your day, not just the morning, but pausing, taking little moments to pause and just connect to that inner knowing or inner voice, and asking for guidance,
mm,
which I love as well, is in that stillness sometimes just asking for the guidance and trusting when it comes to you, and
yeah,
continuing to trust and keep the faith in whatever that higher power is for you.
beautiful. And where can our listeners go to learn more about you?
So my Instagram is holisticliving.co, but it's WHO for whole, so
Hmm.
holistic. And my website is holisticlivingcoaching.com.
Beautiful. Now, before we go, I pulled your card. So, and it's funny because I already had this like initial feeling about what it meant. But as soon as you started talking about the story with your son
Yeah,
and this,
yeah.
yeah, I was like crazy. You got the Mother of Cups, which is
No,
all about that like intuitive. It's like literal though for you. It's like so literal that intuitive, mothering, nurturing feeling. Like the fact that I pulled this and then you told me the story about you not taking this trip because your intuition just like hit you out of nowhere and you found out that you actually had to like mother your son and nurture your son and take care of your son, but your intuition was the thing that was like guiding you to stay. I was like, "Oh my gosh. I couldn't wait to share that with you." I was like, "This is
and
perfect."
I mean, definitely with that storyline, I definitely relate and resonate with that very,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's just, it also like the, what I felt when I first pulled it too was just that your heart is so open and it's so pure and you just have this beautiful, like nurturing, caring, loving energy. And so it's just one of those things that I feel just like carries over into the work that you do with your clients as well. So,
So Steph, that means so much.
oh, I'm so glad.
Love
And the
that.
message for everyone else is just tune into your emotions and your intuition today. Speaking about what Christina said, like taking moments just to pause and like get in touch with yourself, get in touch with what you're feeling, what you're thinking, but really allowing your intuition and your inner knowing and that love for yourself to take over today, and just speak to yourself with love a little bit. So,
Okay, I love that. Speak with love. Lead with
yes,
and speak with love. I love
speak with
that.
love. I love it too. Well, Christina, thank you so much for coming on. It was so nice to see you and to hear your stories. I appreciate you coming on.
Always great to see you. Thanks you so much.